JoyNews has uncovered how the Tamale Teaching Hospital awarded a contract to supply drugs of over 200,000 Cedis without due process. A special audit report by the hospital revealed there was no evidence of either an evaluation exercise or a tender committee approval for the award of the contract. But a former director of pharmacy, Nicholas Jimeni, has denied engaging in any underhand dealing, saying he only provided technical advice and did not award the contract. In the second part of our hotline documentary, Robbing the Sick, JoyNews' Kwete Nate takes a look at more of such irregular contracts.
Extortion is just one problem, and there's another situation that threatens the quality of healthcare services provided by this hospital. Documents cited by JoyNews reveal widespread procurement breaches by hospital staff in the Tamale Teaching Hospital. A special audit by the internal audit of the hospital on drugs procurement above the ceiling of 29,000 Cedis revealed that the amount was divided into two and awarded to one company, First Solve Limited, in 2014.
The threshold was 20,000. Right. Now, what happened was that, like I was telling you, the Tamale Teaching Hospital is the only referral center in the northern region, Upper East, Upper West, and then upper part of Brown Half. Right. The drugs in question were drugs that were not on the market, and normally we were grinding tablets, right, to put them in suspension form for patients, and that comes with a lot of risk. So when these medications, when this company came, they ciprofloxacin suspension. There was no ciprofloxacin suspension on the market at the time, okay? And the quantity we needed was 1,000 for northern region, Upper East, Upper West, and northern part of Burahafo, which was woefully inadequate. So if we put price quotation above the quantities, it's a teaching hospital, okay? And 1,000 was not even adequate. And I am not a supply officer, I'm not a procurement officer. I just give them the quantities that are needed.
So who divided this quotation into two?
Yeah, this is procurement. Okay, I don't procure drugs. All I provide is technical advice to management. Okay, and I don't think, if even that, even that, you see, we can't put the cost, right, over quality and service, because we needed to provide service. You see, when you have enteric fever and it's not managed properly, right, you can develop into typhoid perforation and sepsis, and a generalized peritonitis, which is dangerous. Okay, and we're buying just 1,000 bottles of ciprofloxacin suspension for regions, so it's ridiculous. Right? You see, sometimes you need to be present to appreciate what we require to provide services to patients.
In that same year, the hospital's audit found out that the anesthesia, ENT, ENE, OBS and Gynae labor ward could not account for drugs costing 125,100 Cedis because they didn't maintain a ledger.
So the second part of our hotline documentary, Robbing the Sick, airs on the JoyNews channel next Monday. Do make a date for that. The Western Region Police Command is preparing to arraign a woman before court for raising a false alarm. The woman, Khadija Kamara, a Sierra Leonean who had a misunderstanding with her Ghanaian husband, had called a mob on the husband, accusing him of kidnapping her together with her two children. Our Western Region correspondent in Natalia Kwanza reports the man was still saved from a bloodthirsty mob only because he sought refuge at the Efiokuma police station.
Residents of number 9, a suburb of Takoradi, ready to lynch a kidnapper. They were following up on screams from a woman in a car that her two children were being kidnapped by the driver of the car. Following recent news of kidnapping in Takoradi, a mob gathered and chased the vehicle, ready to administer their own form of justice. The driver, sensing danger, redirected his route to the Effiekuma police station. It took the police to wrestle him from the irate crowd.
I saw a vehicle from which one of the occupants screamed she had been kidnapped. Then those close by began raising an alarm. One man made an attempt to make enquiries and call the police, but the car took another turn close to where the police stood. Later, the police said the two in the vehicle were husband and wife who had some disagreements, but we could not believe it.
At the police station, it was revealed that the driver was not a kidnapper, but rather a father to the children and a husband to the wife.
The gentleman's car was actually spoiled. They hit it with stones and sticks. When they brought the people to the regional headquarters, during the investigation, it was realized that the man by name George Kweku Eduafo, who is age 49, and the lady is Khadija Kamara, a Sierra Leonean. Khadija is the wife of Eduafo. And according to them, this morning they had some misunderstanding. And the husband was taking their two kids to school. The lady said he would join the car, and the husband said no. She insisted and joined the car. So the husband said while they were going, they were having some misunderstanding in the vehicle. So as a result of that, the wife attempted to hold the gear. So she was also struggling with him, with her not to take the gear away from her. So in the course of that, the wife raised alarm that people should help her, So immediately, people shouted that somebody has been kidnapped. So according to the gentleman, because of the way the crowd were coming, he had to drive to the Effiekuma police station to seek for shelter.
The wife had indeed raised false alarm. The development comes in the wake of the kidnapping in Takoradi. So far, the 3 girls who were kidnapped in the area over the last 4 months have not been found.
You're watching JoyNews Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead we have that very interesting conversation about the Ghana Cedi back to losing weight after a brief recovery in trading against the dollar. Even as concerns grow about its free fall. What could be happening to the local currency? We'll bring you some analysis. Later on, Nkranza Youth expressed disappointment with decision to name Techimang as regional capital of the newly created Bono East region.
We are disappointed, though we accept the capital to be Techimang, but Nkranza in particular and the rest of the Bono East enclave, apart from Techimang, all of us, I can tell you, are much disappointed.
Now, talk of the Cedi losing value against the foreign trading currencies, especially the dollar, has been rife in the last couple of weeks, especially after the exchange rate crossed the 5 cedis to $1 mark. Now, each time the Cedi loses even a peso in value, it translates into an increase in prices of goods and services on the market. The effect is felt more on the spare parts market, where the dealers don't hesitate in passing on the increased cost to their customers. But the spare parts dealers at Bosokai also take a hit each time they increase their prices, as they experience a drop in sales, and are asking government to ensure the Cedi remains stable. Henry Kwesi Badu's report.
It's a slow day at Abosokai, a spare parts market in Accra. In here, traders monitor the performance of the Cedi against other foreign currencies religiously because they deal in only imported goods. The traders say the fluctuating nature of the Cedi against the dollar is hitting them hard because they always have to review their prices to cut their losses.
Importers need no money brain. It's almost because of dollar na the high increase nti e mo so mo de no money ba o mo yire bo no ye den e de mayen nti e mayen so no o mo so ma beto Ghana ha na mo use o mo ka no yen so yire bo no ba mo focus aboso kan atete no ma so but it's not true say atete no ma so because at the end say nipa no ono beto ade na ba no afi wo sesa no e de akodo no sa akofa foforo na ye den e de aba no e be ha adwen nti ono so ya ono so be yire bo no so aye den e de ama wo se na be ya ono so sesa dollars na eni na kosi o ho a
say the enso abom kanu is obetia betra kro fiti anopa base be say me kanu ntimi to ade more than bet say 5,000 kra Oh, but can there say Bobe 12 there? Say Timmy 20 my one person say market no but they say there enter there. Say enter there cra. No, it's a sign bumper.
Traders added that although many customers visit the market, they only come to haggle over prices, accuse them of inflating goods, and then leave without buying any of them.
The buyers also come to us. They always want us to, come down because they heard that the government has made some reduction, but it's not happening here. No, you're not experiencing it here. So always, we have problem with the buyers. Always when they come, they say, oh, they have heard that Kufuor has decreased the tax over there, but you're not seeing it here. It doesn't happen here. So always we're having quarrel with the buyers. Always they want them to come down with the price, but every time we're having increase with the problem with the importers.
Said the authority 2 years ago, no, Baba Kranis Nusa. Now, or person beton the same price, and I say even cry low. Into most of the Yana and my importers and
They added that monitoring the depreciating nature of the city daily is depressing and called on the president to fulfill the promise of stabilizing the city.
When the president was about to do his election, he told us he was going to help Abusokan people. He was going to reduce the dollar and at the same time our tax and the duty. But really, we are not seeing anything like that. So when the customers come, they used to say, Abusokan here, yes, so that is not true. See, right now the dollar is catching up to 6 cities. Why is it supposed to be that way? No, it's not supposed to be that way. I think the government is not helping Abusokan people. Yeah.
It's 5 cities, 20 pesos.
Yeah, it's almost 6 cities. So we pleading on his behalf. He's supposed to work on the dollar.
The spare part dealers also want government to review duties at the port. Henry Kwesi Bedu's report for JoyNews.
Right, and joining me in the studio right now is Courage Boti. He's an economic analyst with DataBank. Thank you very much, Courage, for making time to be with us. We heard one gentleman in the interview there. He was saying that it's almost 6 cities. Clearly, that's an exaggeration.
Exactly.
Tell us, where are we at this moment as far as the city's exchange rate with the dollar is concerned?
Well, a very good evening to your listeners. We started the year, I think our projection really was a stable currency this year, but I think we are having a surprise. I think year to date, Cedi has depreciated by some 3.6%. On the interbank market is ending today's trading session at around 5 Cedi flat. I mean, with a little 5.0016 or so, which is not quite significant. So 5 Cedi flat on the interbank market.
All right. So that is quite different from what people experience when they go to the current rates people get when they go to the Forex.
Exactly. On the Forex Bureau, it's looking around 5.16%.
Okay. So 5.16% on the Forex.
Exactly.
I think when you go to the Forex Bureau.
Exactly.
But then on the interbank market, it is 5.0016.
Exactly.
You say. So that is what, that's a relatively, safer rate, except people don't get that rate.
So what a Bank of Ghana rate or the interbank rate does is when Bank A wants FX, probably from Bank B, the rate at which they can trade among themselves. Right. But that rate determines how much they sell it. The cost of them acquiring the FX determines how much they also sell it. So if the interbank rate is going up, say is also going up, automatically you expect that the Forex Bureau rate to go up, because these Forex Bureaus get their FX supplies from the commercial banks. And then the banks that provide quotation also, they derive that from the rate at which they acquire them. So the interbank rate gives cue to the Forex Bureau rates.
All right. So we have some slides that we're going to share with our viewers. So you tell us, what do we see right now?
So this is the performance of the Cedi versus the USD, the Great British Pound, and then the Euro in 2018.
So the USD is the green line.
Exactly. Right. And then the black one is the pound, the British pound, and then the gold line is the euro. Now, what you see in 2018 is that we started the year, so if the curve is coming down, it means there is depreciation. And then if it's going up, it means there is appreciation.
Right.
So the 100% mark is closing at a flat rate. What you see in 2018, when we started the year, is that the Cedi was fairly stable. I mean, slightly depreciating below the 100% mark. But then up to somewhere in March, we saw it picked up slightly all the way to, I think, end of April, thereabout, where it started declining. So we saw in Q1 2018, as at the end of Q1, that the Cedi recorded a 0.26% appreciation. Why was that so? Beginning of the year, the government went out into the market and then issued some sizable local bonds. I mean, that attracted, and at the time, because the emerging market was looking good, and the rate hike wasn't so aggressive in the US, and then all the other European countries were not looking good in terms of investment destination, a lot of the offshore guys were looking at our local market. So the participation in those bonds, plus the issuance of Eurobond, I mean, somewhere very early in the second quarter, played a role in the kind of appreciation we saw.
All right.
But when the emerging market issues in Turkey happened, and then rate hikes were kind of aggressive in the US, sentiments changed. So you see the curve drop sharply for the USD, the green line, drop sharply post-April, and then we see by June, we had recorded nearly 8% or so depreciation, before ultimately stabilizing thereafter towards the end of the year.
Towards the end of the year.
Exactly.
Now at the beginning of the year, we're experiencing another decline. Now, why should we worry if we see the trend like this? We see the decline in the value of the Cedi.
So there's the curve showing this year so far what we've done. The green line again is the USD. You see from beginning of the year, we closed the year around that 4.8 level. And then we see where it is now, a steady climb, going up all the way to where we are seeing our 5 Cedi thereabouts. Now, what is explaining this? So this very quarter, unlike the other quarters, sentiment in emerging market are not so strong. So government hasn't issued any long-term bonds. The views of investors now is let's stay short. So they are buying 2-year, 3-year, maximum 1-year notes, 91-day bills. Now, those ones don't attract the foreign investors. They are interested in 3 years and above. And then because sentiments are also not looking good, even if you issued 6 years, they didn't participate as much. So we're not getting enough FX inflows.
How about speculation?
Speculation.
The impact of speculation, because people feel that the Cedi is losing value, and so I better go in for the dollar now so that I can hold some of that, some of the forex, so that when it becomes more expensive later on, I don't have to worry about that.
I must say that speculation will play a role, but normally this trend, I must confess that it's a seasonal trend. We see it every first quarter. In that first quarter, I mean, bond investors will be repatriating their interest mostly, and most especially in this case where the market is not looking good. So these guys who want to, instead of buying new bonds with the interest they get, they want to send it out, repatriation. Businesses who imported so much for the festivities will be settling their letters of credit. The pressures will come on, and then dividend to be repatriated during this period. So all of that play a role. But it is when it becomes severe, as we are seeing now,
so
that the speculation, exactly, that the speculation sets in. If you're doing 3.6% depreciation in barely 2 months, if you annualize that, you're talking nearly 40% depreciation at the end of the year, if that trend is supposed to continue. And that's alarming.
So that's a cause for concern.
It's a cause for concern.
What is the central bank doing about it, if it's doing anything at all?
At the last MPC, they sounded very calm about the situation. Probably they know what the causes are. We all know that it is normal for currencies to depreciate sometimes. I mean, as much as possible, we operate a market-driven exchange rate.
Yes.
And so you want to allow the market forces of demand and supply to interplay to determine what price your currency exchange for another currency. But then when it becomes severe, the central bank's role is limited to smoothing the volatility. And so they come into the market as and when. But then question is, our reserve at the end of 2018, the Bank of Ghana reported is around 7.7 billion. That's about 3.6 months of import cover. At what rate should we intervene in the market so as you stabilize the Cedi, and at what cost? Because if you deplete it now and there are shocks, you may be ill prepared to deal with those shocks. So you need to find that fine balance between supporting the currency towards a certain level of stability as against preparing for future shocks that you may not be aware of. Crude oil prices are down, coming down below the 75 mark that we saw it most of the time in 2018. I mean, if that trend continues and it hits the $36 per barrel like we saw in 2014, 2015, thereabout, that's a big shock to the budget.
All right.
And then that is a big shock to FS supply. At what rate will they be able to sustain the current rate if they want to support? That is why they need to be cautious.
Now,
about
the ideal situation is for us to have stability in the currency. There are those who will say, why don't we go back to the situation where we can have the Cedi being at par with the dollar when the new Ghana Cedi was first introduced? Why is this not prudent?
It is not prudent because just like any price, I mean, if you sell any commodity, whatever it is now, and you go back to market, I mean, if the price is 1 Cedi today and it's gone over to 3-4 cedis, I'm not sure you will want to bring it back to 1 Cedi because of the cost of getting it, right? And like I said, it's demand-supply interplaying. Cedi can never get to 1 Cedi to $1. Not any intervention will make it so. Unless we grow our export volume to the level that we have so much abundant reserve like the Chinas. You see, China, let me explain this. Depreciation is not always bad. It depends on the kind of economy you run. A country like China will always be accused as a currency manipulator because they are largely an export-driven economy. Now, depreciation is good for an export-driven economy because it makes the prices of your goods competitive.
On the global market.
For the same $1, someone could buy more goods in your country than if the currency were appreciating. So if we are an export-driven economy, or we could expand our export capacity to the level where we could generate so much, currency depreciation shouldn't really be a problem. And the FX inflows from our exports should automatically sort it out so that we'll not have volatility to the level we're seeing. But we are not largely an export-driven economy. We are import-dependent economy. Most of our exports are in their crude form. They don't generate so much. And that is why, because we depend so much on imports, it is not in our interest that the currency depreciates at the rate it's depreciating.
All right, now, so our currency has been in consistent depreciation. It's always, the Ghana Cedi is always losing value against the dollar and the other major trading currencies. Is there going to be a point in time when we're going to experience stability?
It has to come with the management of these issues and then the administration of the currency regime. Let me cite these examples. So let's look.
But we're supposed to have some very, very brilliant managers of the economy right now.
Yes, but it's not a quick fix. It's not something that will happen in a day. It has to be a deliberate effort. Look at it this way.
It can happen in a year. It can happen in 2 years.
Ghana is running trade surplus. For the last 2 years, we've run trade surplus in 2017, in 2018. In 2017, it was 1.17 billion. In 2018, it even got better, 1.7 billion, thereabout. Now, so it's growing, driven largely by oil. So on that side alone, we are not the economy we were in the past where our exports were less than our import. I mean, but the problem is that if you look at our current account, it's still in negative. Now, current account just incorporates in there the services you import and export, right? Now, if the roads that we construct, the hospitals we build, and all the other services that we require, let's face it, I'm not saying we have the capacity internally, but if you are hiring people from outside to do all of these things, normally at huge contract sums, the gains you are making on trade balance is eroded by paying these guys and they are going back. Why not enforce a national local content policy so that, like we did for the Etiabo gas project, that the foreigners came, yes, but we gave them mandate within a certain minimum number of years, train locals to take over, and successfully it was done. Why not look at that in the other areas you don't have capacity? That is how the Asian Tigers developed. Right. They imported services, but then they compelled them to train locals to take over from them. Right. So that will not deplete our effort. That is just one. Another thing, Nigeria did something brilliant last year. They actually signed a bilateral FX swap agreement with China, which gave them access to the dollar equivalents of, $2.5 billion. What that does is that there are Chinese interests in Nigeria Chinese businesses in Nigeria, they would require Naira to do their businesses. There are Nigerians who export from China. They also need the Chinese renminbi to do their import and all of that. You know, the demand for dollar in Ghana and for most African countries is a derived demand. Our trade with US is very minimal. I think just around 1 billion. But China is actually our largest source of import, right? And so if you are dealing with a country like China,
so that would be one way of saving the situation. So
exactly, that gives you about $4.5 billion of trade.
Right.
If you have a swap arrangement that supplies the renminbi for local importers, and then you provide the Cedi for Chinese investors who are in Ghana, you cut demand for dollars. That is also a short way of stabilizing the currency.
Thank you very much for sharing your courageous thoughts with us. Courage Boti is an economic analyst with Data Bank. We could have continued with the conversation, but we do not have enough time. We have business news coming up, and business news is also going to look at the performance of the Cedi as well. Also in business, a drop in prices of food and non-food items forces general inflation rate down to 9%. Will it reflect on cost of doing business? We will tell you more. Now, some Nigerians living in Ghana are accusing the Ghana Immigration Service of extortion and unfair treatment over their stay in the country. Their comments come on the heels of a viral video showing some of them aggressively confronting Ghanaian immigration officials. Public Relations Officer of the GIS, Amako Atta, tells JoyNews that Nigerians were residing in the country without the needed documentation. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
In a video that has since gone viral, about 10 personnel of the Ghana Immigration Service are seen in a Kaswa Police District Office vehicle attempting to move. But they are blocked by some of the angry Nigerians who live at the Blue Rose Estates at Gomoa-Butumbram. Some of them throw stones and any item they lay their hands on under the car.
Among some of the things used by some of the residents to block them from moving is this this wood here. We've been speaking to some of them who say that what happened was mere agitation over some past experiences. They say usually when the personnel of the Ghana Immigration Service come here, they arrest some of the residents here who do not have permits. When they take them to their base, what usually happens is that they extort monies from them. So what happened was a mere agitation and protest over their past experience. I'm here to meet some of the community members here to speak to them on what they make of the recent agitations and what they think is the way forward.
My name is Eddie.
Some meters away from where the incident happened, I've met some of the Nigerian residents. They admit some of their compatriots accosted the immigration officials because they were unhappy with the treatment meted to them by personnel of the service. The Nigerians accuse the GIS officials of extortion.
And they carry them. The ones that have money, they will release them. The ones that don't have money, they would deport them. Sometimes they threaten them with deportation, and they are afraid of that. So, and it has become very, very often this period. That is why the boys decide to push back on them.
Some of us are living in the country legally, and we have families and businesses here. So some people which they met and all that, they'll collect money from them, and if you don't have money, they'll threaten you with deportation and all that. So on that fateful day, it happened when they came, and those noises I was hearing is why I had to come out and to know. But I was hearing everybody was complaining because it's getting too much. What we were all complaining about is, and we are still complaining about right now, is if they want us to leave the country, there should be a prior notice to everyone that is in. You can even announce it that, okay, we've give you so and so ultimatum to leave our country.
Most of us here, we don't know. We should have been educated about that. You shouldn't just come to us, break our doors while we are inside. You don't
break your doors whilst you are inside?
Yeah. They break doors. Do you get it?
Okay. You have pictures of that? You have evidence to show that the GIS officials break your doors and enter?
They break doors. They climb the walls. You'll be inside and suddenly you hear a knock. If you try to know who the person is before you see they bang into your house and they start packing, they just don't take you. They take your loads.
I'm married to a Nigerian. Because of what is going on, the guy left because he don't like this kind of embarrass. Because you just be in the house, like you don't know, before you see, it's embarrassed. I have a small baby with him, a 6-month baby. Yes, so what is going, it's affecting us a lot. Even our businesses, everything. If they are sitting and they saw immigration, they'll just running. You don't know, like everything is, before you see, like it's getting out of hand. The only thing is, they should let them know what the reason why they are embarrassing them. Fine, if they don't want Nigerians in Ghana, simply, okay, this and that, or this is what you have to do before you can stay in the country.
The argument put up by some of the Nigerians living here is that Ghana is a member of the Economic Community of West Africa.
Well, joining us on phone right now is a public relations officer of the Ghana Immigration Service, Michael Amakon Atta. Thank you very much for making time to speak with us. Now, you've heard what the Nigerians are saying there in that story. What is your story?
Yeah, good evening and thanks for the opportunity. And also good evening to your viewers. I would like to go straight forward and say the allegation of money being demanded from these Nigerians is untrue, fallacious, and a baseless allegation. They are just saying this to cause public sympathy, but that will not regularize the illegal stay in the country.
All right. Now, how did those immigration officials find themselves in that situation where they were being hounded by these Nigerians?
Yeah, you see, we have a command at Kaswa, and part of their mandate is to go on enforcement operations to ensure that foreigners living within that vicinity have documents to stay in the country.
What sort of documents are you talking about?
Yes, one, they should have permit, business permit, or resident permit, depending upon their conditions of stay.
Are they not allowed to freely come into Ghana?
No, you see, the ECOWAS protocol says that yes, ECOWAS nationals free 90 days visa to enter into any ECOWAS country. Thereafter, if you want to stay for more days, you go to the nearest immigration office and get your business permit extended. If you do not do that,
how do you know if they have actually stayed for more than 90 days? Do you document their entry into the country at the Togo border, for instance?
Precisely so. We document their entry. And also, we also engage in intelligence gathering. Just last week, our officers were in that vicinity, and 37 Nigerians were found to be there illegally and engaged in cyber crime. They have been removed. Just last week again, another operation, 57 were removed. We are not just doing this on mere allegations, but based on intel, and which intel has been proven to be right.
But they also make these allegations, these claims that your officials actually extort money from them. And that, yes, they are arrested, but when they're able to negotiate and pay part with some monies, they are let go.
If any of them has paid money to any officer, they should come forward and show the evidence. And the laws of the service would deal with that officer. It is not true.
What is the Ghana Immigration Service doing about this incident which has gone viral, the fact that your officers were essentially attacked by these people? Are you just leaving it at that, or you're taking action against the people involved?
Yeah, definitely we're taking action. A report has been submitted to headquarters. A committee is looking at the issue, and very soon an appropriate response will be given.
Now, I want to get clarity on this issue that I asked you, the question I asked you earlier. You're saying that when Nigerians come through the border, the Togo border, if they're coming by road, you document each and every one of them?
Yes. If they enter at every approved point of entry, there are officers there. You fill a card, and then your information are recorded and also confirmed with the passport that you have. Then you are conditioned to stay for between 30 to 90 days.
All
These
right.
informations are kept.
All right.
Unless the person enters to an unapproved group.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael Amakwata. He's the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Immigration Service. We have to. President Akufo-Addo has named Brong Ahafo Regional Minister Ivan Supoku Bobie as interim minister for the newly created Bono East region until a substantive minister is appointed. The president announced this at the ceremony to present the constitutional instrument CI 113 for the creation of the Bono East region. President Akufo-Addo also chose Techiman as the capital of the new region despite protests by a section of chiefs and people from the Nkranza area on Monday. He assured the people that development of Bono East region will spread across all the towns and villages.
In the President's 2019 budget statement, an amount of 20 million cedis has been allocated as seed capital for Bono East to help in the establishment of the needed infrastructure for the smooth takeoff of the region. I know one of the concerns of the coalition in Bono East had to do with, quote, appointments to government positions and feelings of marginalization. You will thus be glad to know that soon you will have your own minister hailing from Brong East. Until the appointment of a substantive regional minister for Brong East, I have asked the current regional minister for Brong East, for Brong Ahafo, the Honorable Evans Opoku Bobie MP, to act as caretaker minister. I'm happy to inform you that Techiman has been chosen as the capital. I want to assure residents of the region, however, the government projects and structures will be equitably spread across the region. Nananum, until the appointment of a substantive regional minister for Ahafo, I have asked the current regional minister for Brong Ahafo, the Honorable Evans Opoku Bobie, Member of Parliament for Asnafo North, to act as caretaker minister. Goso has also been chosen as the capital of the Ahafo region. Government projects and structures will be equitably spread across the region. This, Nananum, ladies and gentlemen, is the beginning of a better and brighter future, not only for Ahafo, but also for Mother Ghana.
The youth of Nkranza have meanwhile expressed their disappointment over the decision to make Techiman the capital of the newly created Bono East region. It's the latest fallout in the naming of the capitals for the new regions and follows Tuesday's protest in Salaga after Damongo was named the regional capital of the Savannah region. According to the Nkranza youth, their town is strategically positioned to be the regional capital not only for the newly created region but the Bono Ahafo region as well. Addressing a news conference at Nkranza Wednesday afternoon, the disappointed and agitated youth vowed to vote massively against the governing MPP in the 2020 general elections.
A government that promised us to retrieve our locked up money with investment companies like Ponzi schemes during 2015-16 election campaign have failed to deliver this promise, have now turned against us to steal our birthright for the people of Techiman. We thank our leaders, MCE, Atta Kusiwa, Charles Kunadu, Derek Odro, and acting President Nana Ajay Bafo for failing us and making Nkranza to be denied the capital of the Bono East region. With our much appreciation of this failure, we say thank you by voting our leaders in 2020 out of power and voting massively for NDC come 2020 election. We say no NKZ capital, no MPP government come 2020.
Liaison Officer for the Bono East Creation and Youth Leader Kofi Ohene-Sechi added that though they were not happy, they will cooperate with the authorities in the interest of the region's development.
First and foremost, we'll have to thank the president for what he has done with regards to creation of this region. But we have to also register our displeasure and mention that we are disappointed, though we accept the capital to be Techman, but Nkranza in particular and the rest of the Bono East enclave, apart from Techman, all of us, I can tell you, are much disappointed. Why are we disappointed? My brother, we used to travel from Kejeji, Kwame Danso, Atebubu to Sunyane. Now we are creating a new region. And the most important thing now is accessibility. The very last community of our region, that is Bono East Enclave, the very last community has been selected again as the capital for all of us. So that we have to spend not less than 24 hours from Kejeji, 48 hours from other places before we can access our capital. Now, brother, what is the criteria for this selection? That is what we are asking of. What is the criteria used to select Techman as our capital? But nonetheless, what do we have to say? All that we have to say for now is to cooperate and be ready to work for development for the entire region. But I have to state and mention again that we accept the pronouncement of the president, but we are much disappointed.
Though the town is relatively calm, there is heavy security presence there. Divisional Police Commander at Nkranza, Chief Superintendent John Ferguson told JoyNews they will not countenance lawlessness on the part of any individual or group.
Well, what I can say is that everything is under control. The kind of security we need to put in place, we have done so. And as you can see, law-abiding citizens are going about their normal duties, except those who claim they have defected. Well, it's their right. We can't stop them. But lawlessness is one thing we will not countenance. So whoever dares to break the law in the name of defecting or another town has been mentioned and theirs have not been mentioned, we will deal with them accordingly. So as you can see, go to town and see things for yourself. The whole town is very calm, very, very calm, and there's no cause for alarm. I don't want anybody to have any negative media reportage anywhere saying that there's fire in Nkranza. There is nothing like that.
Elsewhere, 7 persons have been arrested by the police in the northern region in connection with Tuesday's violence and Salaga that resulted in the burning of the MPP constituency office and some party billboards. The suspects were picked up in the early hours of Wednesday at Salaga upon intelligence to assist in further investigations. Some youth of the area went on rampage after President Akufo-Addo announced Damongo as the regional capital of the newly created Savannah region. Police moved in and succeeded in preventing the youth from burning down the district assembly building as well as the DC's bungalow. DSP Yusuf Tanko speaks for the Northern Region Police Command.
We have both police and military presence on the ground, and we are trying to control the situation. The disturbances have stopped. As you rightly put it, we've been able to arrest 7 persons who we have brought to Tamale to assist in investigations. And we are also moving on the names that we have to pick those to also assist in our investigations. We take them based on intelligence that they were part of those who perpetrated the act. But we need to subject that particular intelligence to further proof to be able to establish whether or not they were involved. And it is after that proof or further investigation when we will be able to ascertain firmly that they are involved or they are not involved. We have videos, but we don't know the one in your possession. But we are assuring that we will try as much as possible to trace and arrest all those who have been cited in the video. But we need to understand that it is not everybody who appeared in the video who was involved. And there are many more who didn't appear in the video but are also involved.
Parliament on Wednesday failed to approve recommendations from the Privileges Committee that Assin Central MP Kennedy Ejepong be suspended or reprimanded after he was found guilty of contempt. The committee in July last year, after a series of hearings, concluded Kennedy Ejepong called the House useless and cheap in a radio interview and recommended that he be sanctioned. 7 months down the line, action is yet to be taken. The Speaker indicated on Tuesday the issue will be dealt with on Wednesday, but that didn't happen. His lawyer, Katie Hammond, insists his client did nothing wrong.
Speaker gives directives for ABC to be done. By the same token, it's the same Speaker who sits and under his patronage, the leadership decides to take A or B item. Today, it was decided that A, B, C, D items will be taken. I'm not sure you are getting it. Go on the other paper, see the number of items that are there and which were taken today and which were not taken. So it doesn't. It's a complete non sequitur. You know what I mean? You don't get it wrong. It doesn't follow. By reason of the fact that it is on the other paper, it's going to be. Sometimes we put about 20 or so items, so there's no possibility, human possibility, that we could do all the items.
What's the end game in all of this?
What do you mean, what's the end game? The
yes,
end game
so the matter is still pending.
Yeah, it is. You rightly said that the document is in Parliament. You know, it's in Parliament. Let us read it. Let us discuss it. Let it be debated, and then we'll see the outcome. Yes, I heard what you said. You want the camera to capture what is in my hands, isn't it? Yeah, it will not.
The expectations would be that the Parliament to come to a conclusion that your client did nothing wrong, and so
you've had the benefit of reading the document ahead of me, and you say that actually I heard it on radio. There's speculation that it may not be speculation because you have had the benefit of reading the document that there have been prescription of the sanctions, A, B, C, D, or whatever. In the end, what is that? What is stated? I take it from you. I'm hearing from you. Reprimand or
suspension for the rest.
Okay, so also this what do you call it? One or the other of the two will be decided upon. And so when you say that it's anti-climax and all that, I don't quite understand. Go on. I'll come to you. Don't worry. Yeah, go on.
So for you, any of them will be fair punishment
That of the two would be. I don't know what is in there. Possibly your understanding of what is prescribed by the committee might be different from my understanding of it. So I'm not going to be committed on any of your prescriptions. I'm not so sure. Let me read it and then see what it says for myself.
How is your client feeling, even in the light of all this?
He's not unwell.
Is he afraid?
Afraid of what? You're talking about Canada, Japan. Be careful. Afraid.
Council, there's a second referral.
It is not in his DNA. You know?
Well, Parliament has approved an amendment to the Right to Information Bill that will defer its implementation for about a year. The House on Wednesday concluded consideration of amendments to the bill. The move followed disclosures. There was no provision for the bill's implementation this year and urged government to do that in the next budget. Joseph Bukugakbo has more.
The Majority Leader, Chairman Sabonsu, suggested amendment to the LTI bill in order to give government until 2020 to go ahead with its implementation, which was eventually adopted by the House generally.
We will urge government then that if there should be any financial, any supplementary estimate, some allocation should be made to start this in earnest, so that into the next financial year, which is 2020, we shall have a full-scale implementation of the Right to Information Bill. The Speaker, so I would want to propose that we further amend what the colleague is proposing. Section 18, why Section 18? What of the other sections? Doesn't mean that the other sections then can be implemented whilst we wait for the operation of Section 18. It doesn't really address the core issue. So I would say, I would want to propose a further amendment that, and the title rather should read commencement instead of transitional provisions. Commencement. This act shall come into effect in the 2020 financial year.
Earlier today, MPs completed the consideration of all the suggested amendments to the LTI bill that's coming from the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, and the expectation was that they would have gone ahead with what is described as the third reading and possible approval. But Chairman of the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee, Ben Abdallah, has indicated that some additional suggested amendments have come up, and there's the possibility that they will do what they call a second consideration, and that may end up dragging the processes a lot more.
We are yet to go through the third reading.
Mr. Speaker, let's limit ourselves to the constitution stage. You don't have anything else.
Speaker, for now, there is nothing to be considered. But
very well. Thank you very much.
But Mr. Speaker, But, Mr. Speaker, certain proposed amendments have been brought to the committee to be considered, and the committee is here to meet this afternoon to consider same. So, Mr. Speaker, if the need arises, Mr. Speaker, there will be the possibility of taking this bill through the second consideration stage.
Well, MPs say members of parliament are insisting that they are committed to getting the bill passed into law, despite it dragging all this while. Yao Frimpong Ado is chairman of the Government Assurances Committee.
This 7th Parliament, something that was started about 17 years ago, look at the speed with which we've gotten to where we are right now. But the point is this, that what is the use of passing a bill that's the other side of it, that is the logistics that will make the bill workable, is not ready. Then you have to drag your feet a little bit. I think where we are right now, the bill is almost passed.
So for you, it's a good idea, and that is not as if Parliament is dragging its feet.
No. We're all very serious about this bill, and we think that when here, so that everything will be ready for the bill to work as it is intended to.
From Parliament House in Accra, Joseph Opoku Gakpo reporting.
Yeah. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Israel. You have a good night.